when he retired in 1967, I was in Australia. I used to write a lot of letters to him, and he used to write a lot of letters back to me. And during that time in Australia, I studied Chinese history and Chinese politics as part of my subject course. And at that time, the Australian professors and lecturers taught us that China was not the threat that America had thought China was, because at that time the Americans were playing up the domino theory and said that China wanted to dominate Asia, but our studies and our research showed that China was not interested in the kind of things that the Americans accused it of. So my father, in the letters that I wrote to him and the letters that he wrote back to me, he had an understanding about China as well from his conversation with people that did business in China, like Robert Kwok and other personalities. He was able to understand the complexities of international business. So he could see that China was not a threat, but rather an opportunity for businesses and for the economy. I think China has a long history and long experience of being able to manage minorities even within the Chinese borders. So for the Chinese to look at nations outside of China in the same way that they look at their own provinces in China is also something that is constructive, because they want each province to develop at its own pace, but without falling behind other places. So when they look at the global scenario, they don't want countries to be poor compared to nations which are rich. So they are trying to help these nations by improving the infrastructure and the means of communication, like what they did with Indonesia, the Bandung to Jakarta rail system. I think is something which is quite unique and something that can be quite beneficial. And we in Malaysia can learn from the experience of other countries that have benefited from China's push for infrastructure. But I think China also needs to understand the local sensitivities and the local cultures and the local fears, so that the locals do not become too scared or suspicious of China coming in a big way to help. Because we have learned our lesson when we have Japanese occupation and British occupation, and I think people in this country, the historical memory is still quite long. So I think the Chinese also understand what it's like to be dominated by foreign powers during the time that they had European wars in China. So I think they are more than understanding about our problem as well. And I hope that there's more interaction between the young Chinese people and the young Malaysian people, so that we can understand each other better for the future.